Hi, I'm Jay Garstecki. Welcome to Operation Fishing Freedom. Join me in the boat today as we feature U.S. Army veteran Josh Holubz from Dallas, Georgia.
Duty, honor, sacrifice. Every military veteran has a story to tell. Join pro anglers Jay Garstecki and Ben Olsen as they honor the stories of true American heroes on a fishing boat. The mission today is Operation Fishing Freedom. Brought to you by Great Clips.
A day on the water is a day well spent. For Army veteran Josh Holubz, fly fishing helps Josh overcome the physical and emotional wounds of war.
That boat go over there.
Yeah, that over there at the end of that flag, right at the end of the last one was
That's where those weeds are?
That was where, yeah, they started getting real thick weeds.
Josh is right at home with his fly rod in the streams of the North Georgia mountains. But fishing the cold lake waters of northern Wisconsin was a whole different experience for this soldier from the South.
I was born in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and then when I was very young, we all moved to Atlanta, so grew up there nearby in Kennesaw.
So I know you're somewhat of an avid fisherman. Did you do a lot of hunting and fishing growing up?
Yeah, fishing all the time, like anywhere we could. We had two little creeks that flowed in the woods behind the house I grew up in, and I had a lot of friends on my street, so we'd just wander around the creeks, catch crawdads and things, and sometimes catch little sunfish and things down there. And then there was a pond in our neighborhood. We'd fish down there a lot. They had bluegills and bass and catfish and things in there. Fast forwarding into high school, got less and less time to spend outside. But senior year of high school, in chemistry class is when 9/11 happened. Seeing that, and I knew right then and there, you know, it kind of really hit home that we were under attack. That impacted me a lot. Just the fact that anybody, any force on earth, especially somebody as lowly as a terrorist organization, but had the audacity to do that to us, it pissed me off. So I went ahead and went to college, then started in the fall. The year I graduated, went to KSU. And started out there as business administration major, and that was going to be, you know, the whole shebang. That's all she wrote. To me, that just seems so forced and bland, you know. So I did have kind of an appetite for adventure, I guess, so to speak. So I went to track down the head of ROTC because there was a recruiter who always came into our campus, and I wanted to just go ahead and talk to him. So I asked the recruiter which job was the hardest, and he said, go infantry. I was only 20 years old at the time, so I wanted to do something challenging and something exciting. And at that point, you know, we had gone into Iraq, so you had 2 active ground wars going on, and they needed people. And I decided to go all in. So I decided to do infantry, and that would give me some time out there on the ground because, like I said, both ground wars were going on right then. That would almost guarantee me a front row seat to the action.
Operation Fishing Freedom is brought to you by Great Clips, Recon Boats, and by Yount's Valor Foundation.
Operation Fishing Freedom Foundation is a nonprofit dedicated to documenting the lives of our military veterans.
And your donations allow us to provide education and treatment to our veterans.
Log on to our website, operationfishingfreedom.com, and click on the donate button.
For U.S. Army veteran Josh Holubz, life at the age of 20
I got one here.
was about to change. And as fate would have it,
I got one. It's good.
change would come in the most unexpected of ways.
He's going down in the weeds. Hold on. We'll get him coming back.
There we go. Good job,
Nice.
brother. Nice. Good work. Yeah, that's a nice fish right there.
Not shabby.
No, let me get the hook on him so you don't hook yourself. Good work. How old were you when you joined the military?
I was 20, so it was a couple months before my 21st birthday.
Just a kid.
Yep. But I wanted the job that was the hardest to do. I wanted that sense of accomplishment coming out of it, you know.
Tell me about where you went to basic training.
Down in Columbus, Georgia, at Fort Benning. And then I flew out on New Year's Eve, actually. Flew out to Fort Lewis, Washington.
So what was life like once you arrived in Washington?
Once we got into a routine and everything, we were able to go out and kind of enjoy some of the city, and it was all new surroundings, new friends and new city and everything. So we went out a lot and hung out together, and pretty soon, within the first week of being there, I had met a girl that I was seeing, and a couple weeks later she was pregnant. So there I was, about to be a dad, and staring at a deployment coming. So I decided the best thing to do was to get married and make sure my child had benefits and was taken care of. And that's what I did, and we ended up having a baby girl in December of 2005. Yeah, 6 months later, effectively, we were getting ready to ship out.
And you had a 6-month-old baby and a new wife.
A couple months after Courtney was born, we officially got orders that we'd be deploying to Mosul, Iraq. Yeah, I was upset. I mean, when we first landed in Kuwait, I wasn't hungry. I didn't eat for probably 2 or 3 days.
Really?
You know, I would have stuff to drink. Obviously, you had to stay hydrated, but I just had no appetite. That's how emotional it was, leaving your wife and your kid at home. When I was deployed, I tried to keep my thoughts kind of separated. I would think about Courtney a lot, but I tried to have that separate than, focusing on day-to-day stuff, the missions and patrols that we were going on, always trying to stay sharp and not be distracted. Little did I know, they ended up making me a vehicle commander and put me in a different squad. So I ended up in Sergeant Vincenzo Romeo's squad. And over the course of our deployment, he'd become my best friend.
Had Sergeant Romeo been there a long time before you had arrived?
Yeah, he was in the unit a couple years before I got there. Romeo was the youngest one. He was only 23 years old.
Wow.
At the time, I was 22, so we were
only a year apart.
Yeah, very close in age. At first, things in Mosul seemed kind of slow. Any kind of resistance was very sporadic and short-lived. So although it kind of got monotonous at times, I felt like the whole platoon was going to make it home. I felt like, maybe this would go on for the full deployment and everyone would be fine, everyone would make it home. We may not see any crazy action, but I would be happy just for everyone to make it back.
Is that how it ended?
No.
Operation Fishing Freedom is brought to you by Great Clips, Power Pole, and by St. Croix Rods.
I was trying to keep a straight face. There's a hummingbird, right there. You didn't hear him?
If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes footage and bonus content,
follow us on social media and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're a U.S. military veteran living in Illinois, Wisconsin, or Minnesota,
log on to takeevetfishing.org to find an event near you.
Produced in association with the Yance Valor Foundation.
For U.S. Army veteran Josh Holubz, St. Patrick's Day will never be the same.
After being in Bakuba for about 7 to 10 days, we'd been out a couple times to familiarize ourselves, and every single time we left the wire, we'd take contact. And we finally had our first mission on March the 16th. And on the second day of that mission, St. Patrick's Day, is when my life changed. And now at this point, Sergeant Romeo was on his mid-tour leave. So we were short a couple people. There was only 5 of us. And we were coming up to a T intersection, and we couldn't remember whether it was a left turn or a right turn. So Hart goes to radio ahead to the guys that had already moved through, ask them which way the turn is. And he had said, hey, pull your guys around the corner and let me radio ahead. Right as soon as I turned around, there was a small boom that went off in the distance in the road, a grenade, and then gunfire started behind me. And those rounds came, and almost immediately I got hit right in like the left shoulder and exited the chest. And it severed my brachial artery. When I got hit, I could immediately feel blood pooling up in my shirt and even all the way down my pant leg into my boot. So I knew the bleeding was bad, and I didn't have much time. So when I ran back and I saw Bradshaw and Doc Martin coming towards me, I just about collapsed right there. And luckily, right as I was kind of losing consciousness from the blood loss, they were there to catch me and drag me into the courtyard where the medic could start treatment. He was working away and trying to assess how many wounds there were and where they were. And there was the entry and the exit. So he used, from my med pouch, he used the one and only Kerlix gauze on the entry wound, and he tried to clamp off the artery. Prior to that mission, Sergeant Harkins had given me an extra roll of gauze and told me to put it with my stuff, and I was actually kind of annoyed at him because I didn't have anywhere left to put it. But reluctantly, I took it and listened to him, and I put it in my right cargo pocket. I told him a couple times, I said, Martin, I'm not gonna make it, but he said, no, man, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna make it. And I know they're supposed to say that. I mean, we all had the same training, but he was really working his hardest, and he said, I need something else to patch this up. And right then and there, I remembered that stupid roll of Kerlix that Harkins made me carry, Luckily he did, and reached down, and it was right there in the right pocket, and handed it to Martin, and that's what he plugged up the exit wound with. So,
saved your life.
Yeah. So on the table, prepping for surgery, a chaplain came in and he began to deliver my last rites. He was right there on the left side of the operating table. And, I already knew ahead of time that things were grim, but him reading the last rites like that, it really started to hit home. And then I didn't know whether I was losing consciousness because of the blood loss and dying, or whether they had already started anesthesia. I didn't know whether that was it. I was dying and just drifted out.
Wounded Warriors Retreat offers spiritual and emotional healing to ensure wounded warriors know they're not alone and not forgotten.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you saw in one of our episodes,
or nominate a veteran to be featured on a future episode,
log on to our website, operationfishingfreedom.com.
Operation Fishing Freedom is brought to you by SKB Cases, Thorne Brothers, and by Temple Bay Lodge.
Mortally wounded with a severed artery, Josh Holubz would beat the odds and survive.
When I woke up, I was shocked. I didn't know if I was gonna make it or not. So they said that I'd flatline on the table.
Really?
So yeah, it was close. At that point, my mind kind of shifted to wanting to get on the phone and hurry up and call home, because I knew the Army was gonna do it, and they're not exactly delicate about things sometimes. And I thought it was just best that they hear from me first and hear me say that, it's me, I'm fine. And
All right, man. Something another one should ever have to call home and say, right?
yeah, it was tough. Then I flew back to Walter Reed and spent about a week at Walter Reed before finally shipping back to Fort Lewis and being discharged from the hospital. 6 weeks after being home, it was May 6th, 2007, and we were getting ready to head out to church it was a Sunday morning, and back then it was MySpace, not Facebook. And I hear the alert go off on the MySpace Messenger. And I look on there, and it's the driver of our squad's vehicle. And I knew right away that with the op tempo that we had, he didn't have time to go to the internet. So if he's on the internet, that means somebody got injured. Maybe he gave them a ride to the hospital, and he's sitting there, you know, getting some computer time while he can or whatever. And so I asked him, it was Larry Clark, you know, I said, Clark, what's going on? And he said, we hit an ID, you know. And I said, this part's tough. I asked him, how bad was it? And he said, he named everybody. It was all of them. And it's 13 years later, there's not a day that goes by that I don't still think of those guys. You know, and it doesn't get any easier. You just get a little stronger and able to deal with it. But I mean, I was a wreck right away. Of course, at first I was in total disbelief because these guys, they were Superman to me. I didn't, you know, in a way, I almost thought they were invincible. Now they're all gone. You know, at the time I had no idea it was gonna become crystal clear that, you know, had I not gotten shot, I would have been killed in the striker with the rest of them. The biggest thing was dealing with a lot of survivor's guilt then. You know, wondering why, you know, why are they gone and I'm not? You know, what have I done to deserve to be here? Why don't they deserve to be here? You know, and it's tough. The families all came up for the memorial and was able to meet most of them. I was afraid that they'd be upset with me for not being there when everything happened. But turns out that was just something that I was internalizing. So they weren't that way at all. They were actually really excited to hear about their sons and everything. And have tried my best to kind of keep in touch with them throughout the years. We love them all like family. That's really all we can do with the guys that gave up everything, is just live your life in a way that honors them, in a way that they'd be proud, earn it.
Well, I think you've earned it.
Gotta hope so.
And then some, right?
Thanks, Jake.
I got something that I think you've earned from sharing your story with us and sharing it with everybody else. And so I'd like to present your own custom Angry Bear custom rod here.
Oh, wow. It's got got the branches on it and everything, huh?
It has all the branches of service and your name.
Wow.
And to make it official, I also have your own Operation Fishing Freedom jersey with your name on it.
How about it?
And I can't say thank you enough.
Man, that means a lot.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you saw in one of our episodes,
or nominate a veteran to be featured on a future episode,
log on to our website, operationfishingfreedom.com.